What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video today, and in this video we are at Sioux Falls Regional Airport for the 44th airport update for the month of October 2023. Plenty more exciting news to talk about, and we've also got not one but two American mainline services in this update. Starting off here at gate number 1, we have this Frontier Airbus A320. This came in from Denver as flight 442 at 11:25 a.m. ahead of a scheduled 11:42 a.m. arrival. So Frontier continuing to swap between the A320, A320neo, and the A321, and A321neo. The A321, I would say, has been the least common type, as the neo has become more common if they have ever sent the larger 321 type into Sioux Falls. But in this case here, we have a 320. In this case, it is Sammy the Squirrel, probably my favorite Frontier A320. An Allegiant A320 coming in from an unusual destination means it is another sports charter. This is now the third consecutive airport update in which we've had a sports charter. So this Allegiant A320 came in from Paducah, Kentucky as flight 4801 at 5:56 p.m., a bit behind a 5:44 p.m. scheduled arrival, so a 12-minute delay for this aircraft. And again, I couldn't really find anything about why this charter was here. Been trying to think of some possibilities, but nothing's really come to mind right now. So again, I'm kind of drawing a blank here as to why this Allegiant Sports Charter is here, so I just kind of have to roll with it. Quite the pleasure, if I must say so myself, to have not one but two American mainline flights on the ground in the Sioux Falls Airport update. Both coming from different destinations as well, which is the best part about this, if I would say on that as well. But right here at Gate 5, we have this American Airbus A319S, which came in from Dallas-Fort Worth as flight 2872. Had to go back a couple of days to pull this off the schedule because I don't have duplicate A319s. Mine is just a different winglet type. This one here is from Wednesday, October 4th. So the rest of the flights in this airport update, there are a couple others that aren't from this day. All of them are from Friday, October 6th. So this arrived in at 12:16 p.m. ahead of a scheduled 12:35 p.m. arrival. And next to that, at Gate 7, we have this American Airbus A319, which came in from Charlotte as flight 2665 at 1:05 p.m. ahead of a scheduled 1:12 p.m. arrival. So they've kept the routine of using the A319 on pretty much every day of the week except Saturday, and then on Saturday they've sent in the CRJ 900s, and it looks like that's still going to end on November 4th. That's a Saturday, so the last day of the service will be on a CRJ 900, which is a bit unfortunate. But perhaps they may bring it back in the spring if there is enough demand for it. I've not checked that far out on PassWriter, but I will while I'm editing, and I'll pop up any good information that does show up if there is anything that I can find. But as of right now, I haven't really been able to find anything on if the Charlotte service is going to continue. But nonetheless, it is good that we have that additional service and with more capacity than what we had the last time that it was around. And another thing as well that I do want to mention real quick before we move on to the next aircraft, Phoenix is going to get a temporary upgrade to an A319 in December. Twice weekly on Wednesday and Saturday for 2 weeks, we will get that larger aircraft type, which is just freaking amazing. So that's now the third service, and that means we've had all of our American Eagle services except Chicago on mainline now for at least some capacity, which is really cool. Charlotte obviously came back on mainline. Dallas upgraded to mainline back in February, and then now Phoenix will be a temporary upgrade in the holiday season. It's going to go back to the American Eagle stuff between the 175 and the CRJ 700 as per usual. So just keep that in mind as we move forward. And also Dallas, we are going to see a drop back to American Eagle. Twice daily E175 service beginning on January 8th. It will go back to mainline, fortunately, on February 15th, 2 daily 319s. But I would not be surprised if they do send in larger aircraft more often, because what I have noticed is that they have been sending in the 320 on Saturdays. Not this Saturday, though, on the 7th of October, which is when I'm recording this. But on the last several Saturdays from this video being recorded, they have sent in the A320 when the Charlotte service was only on a CRJ 900. So I guess they're trying to offset the capacity, even though it's coming from different destinations for American mainline. Pushing back out of Gate 6, going to be heading out to Chicago today. We have this United Express CRJ 200 in the Eva Blue livery. This is going to be departing as Flight 5538, operated by SkyWest, departing at 11:40 a.m., a bit behind 11:30 a.m. scheduled departure time, so a 10-minute delay for this aircraft. Resting at Gate 4, we have this Delta Airbus A320 coming in from Minneapolis as Flight 2359 at 11:34 p.m., ahead of a scheduled 11:54 p.m. arrival. Delta Mainline is going to get a bit of a shakeup here on the Atlanta service. Beginning on December 16th, we will see the 717 make its triumphant return. First time in over 2 years since the 717 last flew into Sioux Falls on a regularly scheduled basis. And then after that, we will have another aircraft swap to an aircraft that has not been here for even longer than that. The 737-800 coming here starting January 8th. First flights to FSD since around 2019 or so. That's about as close as I can get to remembering when the last time I remember seeing a 737 for Delta on the flight board. Then the 737-800, it's going to run through at least February, which is really awesome. And then in March, it will switch back to the typical A319 that we've been seeing. Minneapolis is also going to go down back to an A319 for the winter, which I would expect for less demand up to Minneapolis. But that's going to fluctuate, obviously, so I would not be surprised if the 320 does get extended for a little bit longer, or if they do switch to another aircraft type on MSP as well. So plenty of aircraft changes coming as we move into the winter season. Now let's move on to the parking garage update segment, my favorite segment for the Sioux Falls Airport updates. We do have a really good update from an article coming from Sioux Falls Live. As always, I will link that in the description below if you want to check this out for yourselves. I pulled out some essential information that I thought was pretty good from the article. And on your screen as well, I just went up to the airport this morning to take some photos of the parking garage, so those will cycle through as I talk about the latest updates. The core structure of the parking garage has been completed. This is a major milestone as pretty much all the concrete that needs to be poured has been poured. There's actually some last-minute concrete pouring ongoing right now. And as of right now, we're at about 50% completion for the parking garage, which is really awesome. The last few ramps are being poured on the east side of the garage. The Skyway will be installed sometime in the spring. They're targeting an April date for that to be installed. It will be assembled elsewhere before being transported to the airport, where then it will be installed to try and minimize disruptions, at least according to Executive Director Dan Ledler. And speaking of him, he did say that we're about 8.5% ahead of last year's pace in passenger numbers, which is really, really awesome. And I did take a look at some of the passenger numbers as well. I'll pop up a table that I put together of the data from the airport's operating statistics page, which I will link in the description. As July and August numbers finally came out, we still don't have September numbers yet. I'm guessing they're still processing that. But at least from the year-to-date calculations, based on what I've been able to gather, we are well ahead of last year's pace. It's over 25%, which is just ridiculous. So this year is definitely going to be a record-breaking year for FSD, and this parking garage is coming at a great time since we'll add that necessary capacity for parking. 1,000 total spaces, and I think the net gain was like 750 or something. So it's really necessary that we get this parking garage done as soon as possible. And now they are targeting around August to September of next year for that to be completed, though I would not be surprised if this gets pushed up again, possibly into earlier in the summer, because it seems like the forecast for this winter, the initial forecast, it's going to be a warmer winter, and I don't want to jinx anything, so I just want to make that clear. I'm not here to try and jinx anything, and I certainly would not want to do that. But at least this winter is going to be a bit warmer, so we may see more substantial progress made, which would be great, and we may get this parking garage open sooner rather than later. And then in the long term, it sounds like that they want to start on the terminal expansion once they get this parking garage done next year. That's still in the design phases, and I'm guessing it probably won't start for another couple years after the garage has been done, so it's not going to be an immediate start. But either way, this is good to hear that they are still making great progress on the terminal expansion, which once that's done, we're going to get a lot of new services, new airlines, and all of the good stuff. So can't wait to hear more news about that, and the renderings that I've seen, it looks really good on the inside, so super excited about that, and I can't wait for that to open possibly around the end of the decade, I would say. About 2028, 2029, somewhere around there. But that is everything we have on the parking garage update. Let's go ahead and check out some roaming aircraft. We've got some arriving aircraft, departing aircraft, and we have 2 diversions in this update. So let's take a look. New model alert, we have the Air Wisconsin Retro CRJ 200. Yes, very happy to have this in an airport update finally. I was really happy when Gemini just announced this back in the September releases. So super excited to finally use this in an airport update. This came in from Chicago here as Flight 6256. Don't even need to say who operates it because it's clearly on the aircraft livery. This arrived in, I had to pull this off of another Wednesday, October 4th schedule. Arriving in at 5:11 p.m., had a scheduled 5:30 p.m. arrival. And there are several Air Wisconsin CRJ200s that are wearing this livery. This is just one of about, I think there's 4 or 5 of them that are wearing this retro livery. This one here, 465 Alpha Whiskey is the one that I'm representing, and then Gemini did 471 Zulu Whiskey. So that aircraft type, or that aircraft registration rather, I think that one hasn't been in yet, the one that Gemini did, to my recollection. Taxiing from what I would assume to be after a ferry flight, we had this American Eagle Embraer 175. This came in from Chicago O'Hare as Flight 9861, operated by Envoy, at 1:28 p.m., ahead of a scheduled 1:45 p.m. arrival. So pretty interesting that we have such a unique flight number on this. My guess is this is probably a ferry flight. And it looks like that this is the case because it landed into Chicago from St. Louis, then went to Sioux Falls with that 9861 flight number, and then it continued on to Phoenix. So this is more than likely a ferry flight indeed. Taxiing into Gate 6, so that's why that CRJ200 that we took a look at earlier is pushing back. We do have this United Express CRJ550. This came in from Chicago O'Hare as Flight 4475, operated by GoJet, at 2:08 p.m., had to be scheduled 2:32 p.m. arrival. So a nice about 24-minute or so, 26-minute head start. Hopefully my math is correct on that, for the folks coming in from Chicago. Our lone roaming departure in this airport today, we have this United 737-800 in the Evo livery. This is going to be heading out to Denver as Flight 265, which departed at 10:14 a.m., delayed from a 9:48 a.m. scheduled departure time. So this is a delay of about 26 minutes for this aircraft. And then we'll go ahead and check out our 2 diversions, and that will round out the update. And here they are in question. Sitting over on the hard stand, we have a Delta Airbus A321 on the right. That came in from Los Angeles. And then we also have this Delta 717 that came in from Atlanta. So Delta Flight 424, which is the LAX flight, that was intended for Minneapolis and diverted here on Friday, September 29th. And then Delta Flight 635, this was intended for Omaha, and it came in on Tuesday, October 3rd. And I think that's the first time that I can recall that we got an Omaha diversion, as we mostly get Minneapolis, and there were a couple occasions where we did get some Denver diversions a long time ago, but it's been a very long time since that's happened. But very nice that we do have these diversions here, and it just only adds to the variety in these Sioux Falls Airport updates. And that will round everything out. Very happy with where the airport is at in terms of the parking garage construction. That is just amazing. So can't wait to see that completed here in less than a year from now. So there will definitely be a lot of coverage with that parking garage once that opens. So hopeful that we get some really good stuff on that. And then as we move forward here with the American stuff, can't wait to see how that turns out. And I kind of wish that they didn't drop it back down to a 175 for Dallas, but usually less busy months, so wouldn't be able to fill up an Airbus. So I can understand the change for those 2 months. And then Charlotte being gone, I hope that comes back in the spring. That would probably be my guess as to what they're going to do here in the future, but we'll have to see what turns out with that, because I doubt that it would be effective to bring back a service for just 2 to 3 months and then just discontinue it, never to be seen or heard from again. So would hope that that comes back in the spring. And otherwise, we're doing really solid with all these other services. Can't wait to see how this turns out. So with that being said, that is the end of the video. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.